We are going to spend a lot of time talking about corn, but I want to give you a little bit of history about it. So corn originated in Mexico. It's the Aztecs and the Mayans, and doesn't, but you know what the sweetener is? High fructose corn syrup, which comes from corn.
Excuse me, Chef Tom, real quick. We'll have to back up just a little bit for 2 seconds. Somehow you were muted, so we apologize. Let's back the train up so the people can hear you. So we're going to just go from the top. For the 2 minutes you got real quiet on us, it is now fixed. So just come back from the beginning so the people don't miss anything. You're good to go now. The sound is good to go. So just if you can go back to what you were saying, that would be wonderful.
History of the corn. Start over. Start over.
Hi, everybody. Season 1, Episode 1 of Let's Get Cooking with Chef Tom. How are you? Thanks for stopping in and seeing us today. We're not in my home kitchen anymore. We're actually out in the restaurant at the Cooper Center, and this is my other kitchen. This is the one I spend a lot of time in. But I told you today we were going to be doing something corny, so we're going to be talking a lot about corn. I want to give you a little bit of history about corn first, because corn goes back about 7,000 years. It actually started off as a grass plant, and then it got cultivated into what it produces now. And it goes back about 5,000 years with the native Indians. So there's a large history. Corn is our biggest agricultural crop that we use, and about 1/3 of it to 1/2 of it goes to livestock feed. So a lot of it's produced just to feed livestock. But we eat a lot of it too, in a lot of different ways, not just this one. So if I told you grits comes from corn, cornflake crumbs, of course, they come from corn. But you know that in the average grocery store, it's about 4,000 different items that have some type of corn in it. We all know that popcorn comes from corn. It's just a different variety. First ingredient, corn. Who doesn't love these? All right, Sprite. Does Sprite come from corn, Chef Steve?
Sure does.
Absolutely, the sweetener comes from corn. High fructose corn syrup. Apple pie filling. Does that come from corn? It comes from apples. Actually, there's a thickener in apple pie filling, cornstarch. It comes from corn. Wintergrain bars. All different kinds of grains, but there is some thickener in there that comes from corn. The corn comes from a lot of things. Wait a minute, there's a book here. Does the book come from corn? No, actually what happens is the spines, they get a derivative from the corn that they use to make glue, to help glue the spines together in books. Didn't know that. So corn is used all over the place. What about biofuel? Corn. So all different things that happens to corn. So we spend a lot of time looking at trying to get the best type of corn. But right now, August to September, fresh corn is in season. This corn actually comes in a lot of different ways. We're going to talk mostly about fresh corn. So let's get cooking. You know, one of the things that a lot of people don't like to do is husk corn, and I get it. You know, I sit out on my back bench, take a bag, 2 bags, one with corn, one for clean corn, one for the husk and all the stuff that I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to show you a little trick today on how to husk corn. This is just a regular ear corn. Stick it in the microwave for about 1 minute. Give it a shake. There you go. that easy. And most of the silk stays in the wrapper. So there we go. Just did the same thing earlier. You lose a little bit of yield, but not very much. So this is the edible part. What all is edible? Well, the kernel, of course. But what can you do with the cob when you're done with it? It's a great question because a lot of people just throw it away. If you like to make soups, take your cobs and put them in a pot of water with a little bit of salt and make a stock. This is, of course, if you don't eat it off the cob, but if you cut it off the cob, and that stock is good for poaching chicken. It's good for risotto if you're doing like if you want to do a vegetarian risotto instead of water, you use cornstarch. And if you're going to make like a corn chowder, just think of the husk like your chicken bones with your corn bones. So you're going to get that kind of flavor out of it, and then you can freeze it. And another thing they do with it is they'll take the cobs and cook them down and reduce them, and they add a little bit of pectin to them, and they make corn cob jelly. And they use it for biscuits. That sounds good. So there's a lot of sweet. But what else can we do with it? So, you see these things here, the silk, the stuff that nobody wants, right? So, there's a thing called corn silk tea. If you take 2 tablespoons of fresh corn silk, 2 cups of water, bring it to a boil for about 5 minutes, and then turn it down, let it simmer for about 10 minutes. You have corn silk tea. So how do you know about that? I didn't know about it, but the Indians knew about it, and they were the ones that used to use it. They were their own pharmacists in a sense. So what they did was they would make a tea, and it was actually, they used it for as a diuretic. So if you had an infection or a kidney infection, this is what they used it for. I always thought, wow. So you can buy dried corn silk in powder form in different places. Here we go. So now the husks. What do you do with the husks? Well, if you ever heard of tamales, that's what they use for tamales. They dry them out, and you can do that too. Take them and cut them, put them out in the sun for a couple days, let them dry out, and then save them for when they need them. You can also wrap things in them to grill. You just got to make sure you're getting organic corn that doesn't have any pesticides on it, that kind of stuff. So, interesting things about what you can do with it. Because a lot of times we just throw it away. But wait, there's actually one more thing you can do with the cob. Dry it out in a slow oven, and then use it in a smoker. So you get that kind of smoked corn flavor. If you like to smoke meats and vegetables. So, very versatile product. A lot of things we don't even think of. So, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month, we're going to do what's called a Mexican street elote. So I have some ordered now. In traditional street carts in Mexico, corn is boiled. So that's how we're going to do it. So I have some boiling water on back here. And I'm going to fire this up, and I'm going to show you how to get started.
While Chef is putting the corn in the pot, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Chef Tom loves questions, and so if you have any questions.
Cook your corn, Chef Tom. Well, everybody kind of makes the same mistake. They kind of tend to overcook a little bit. They do it a little bit too long. So if your water is boiling, 3 to 5 minutes tops, from the time you put the corn into the pot till the time you take it out. That's how long it takes to cook corn. Corn is only on the outside of the husk. Obviously, if the ears are really large, it might take a little bit longer. But if you had to drop it back in for a minute, it would be better than overcooking it and making it mushy. A lot of people say, oh, it's 11 minutes. It's just, nope. 3 to 5 minutes, about the same time it takes to cook cornstarch, if you ever work with cornstarch. So for street corn, you need a couple things. And there's a gazillion videos out there to watch on all the different techniques to do it. But we're going to start off with equal parts of sour cream and mayonnaise. Now what I have here is some chipotle that's been ground up. If you don't know what chipotle is, It's smoked jalapenos. So it's chipotle and adobo. And this is where your heat comes from. If you like it hotter, you add a little bit more. It's just that easy. I'm going to go by color, because I think it needs just a little bit more. And this is going to be like the spread that goes on the corn. Right, so that's one step. Okay, that's not hard, right? We need some melted butter. We're going to need a couple paintbrushes because we want to kind of paint our product off. We're going to need a little bit of chopped cilantro. That's an optional feature. Cilantro is it's a necessary ingredient. And I just want the leaves, I don't want the stems. So I'm going to pull these off real quick. So at the time that I have all this done, corn might be right. And this is more of a sprinkle garnish at the very end. Now, street corn can be served two different ways. It can be served on the cob, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put a stick on the end of the cob so you can eat it. Or they'll serve it in a cup. And what they do is they take the corn, they cut it off the cob, they drain it, and they put layers of the corn, the sauce, the cheese, they'll heat the cheese, the cilantro, squeeze some lime, and they give you a spoon. It's kind of a walk-away sundae, but it's made with corn. All right. Real quick, there's our sprinkle. That's going to go on at the end. I'm just going to go back here real quick and check our corn. All right. I'm going to give it one more minute. We're going to pull it out. I'm going to glove up because corn's hot. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could grill your corn. A lot of people do that. This gives it a different kind of flavor. Now that we have that filled, it's going to come together pretty fast. So we need a brush for butter, a brush for our sauce. Just like that. Take our sauce, paint it on. You know, when you think about mayonnaise and cream on corn, it all kind of makes sense because mayonnaise is made from oil and eggs, so butter is just fat, so it's just a different type of fat. It keeps it, gives it some flavor. All right, so you want to make sure you get it good and coated. And this is the, we heat the cheese. Just going to coat it just like that. Oh, that looks good, so Steve. I'm just going to do a couple more, just real quick, because I want you to see they don't take that long. You want to do it while it's hot, so you get the good flavor. Now, if you like it spicier, you can just add more chipotle, or you can add a little bit of cayenne on top of your corn. That easy. Again, mantequilla, butter. You should see a little bit of the chipotle flakes in there. All right. just going to do one more. Mix it in. Cheese. Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for. All right. A little bit of chili powder. Right on top. A little bit of our chopped cilantro. Oh, that looks good. And last, some fresh limes. I want to squeeze a little bit on it. But you know, acid in the limes cuts the heat. And I want a little bit of a garnish. You always got a garnish with food. Just like that. Okay, now that actually those sauces will help keep your corn hot a little bit longer. Just keep it cleaner. All right. Give me a second here to clean up. The next one we're going to do is a corn fritter. So I'm going to turn on my griddle. It takes a little bit of time to get hot. I need to talk about it anyway. So, two types of corn fritters. You'll see one that's usually fried, like deep fried, and then one that's usually griddled. So when I went to my wife's family and we started having meals together, she said, "Oh, you have to have my corn fritters." So I said, "Oh, wait, I know how to make corn fritters. I've been doing it for years. When I worked at the Archer's restaurant, it was one of our staple vegetables that a lot of people did. And we made our own. Dried them in order, put a little powdered sugar on them. People loved it. We were starting to get a reputation as the fritter kings because we started to make all different kinds of fritters. Blueberry fritters, strawberry fritters, banana fritters, apple fritters. Just different products. This is the basic batter of flour, eggs, baking powder, and then whatever your product is. So she says, "Well, you have to have mine." I said, "Okay." So she made corn fritters by scraping her corn. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks kind of creamed. She used fresh corn. And it was a ritual that we did every year. We would harvest big corn. Because this corn came from Oak Grove Farms. I'm going to give them a shout out because I buy a lot of stuff there and I believe in what they do. And it's very good corn. So I'm using white corn for this. But she would scrape the corn and then freeze it. And we would use it for fritters. We'd use it for corn pudding for Thanksgiving, Christmas. Our kids learned to love it. So just to show you how this is done, she had this nifty little tool. And there's actually a couple tools that you can use. This is called a corn scraper. And it costs about $2 or $3, and you might find them at an Agway, or you could probably find them online on Amazon. But it's got teeth on one side and then a scraper on the other. And this is another version of a corn scraper or a corn that you can use to actually cut the corn. So this one here, I'm going to show you how we do this. I'm going to do it all in one bowl. Right, go down, scrape. This is my wife's thing at our house where she does this. It takes a little bit of time. I'm going to basically cut open all the kernels. And then you take this backside of it and push up all the pulp. Okay. So you have cream, fresh cream corn. There's no substitute for this. You could use canned corn or frozen corn if you wanted to, but it's not the same thing. It's not going to have the same flavor. So, a couple eggs. This is about 2 cups of corn. I have a little bit of sugar. You don't need a lot because corn is sweet. If the corn's sweet, it's good. A little bit of sugar, salt and pepper to taste. All right. And then just a little bit of flour. I'm going to put, this is like 2 tablespoons of flour. If I need more, I'll put a little bit more in. We're going to mix that up. And that becomes our batter. And then basically, we're going to drop it by the spoonful onto the grill. And it looks real wet. It is a little thin. But that's what makes them really good, because they're delicate, they're not doughy. I didn't tell her I was stealing her recipe, so she'll have to find out after she watches the show. I got to give her her props. Now you could do anything with these where you wanted to. You could add bacon bits, you could add jalapeno, you could add green onions. You can make it any way you want. This is the basic batter. A little bit more flour in here. Just to pull it together just a touch more. And it's better if you make the batter and you let it sit for a little bit, but we don't have that kind of. So I want to spray my griddle. If you wanted to, you could use butter, but it's a little sloppy. Just like that. You see they kind of spread out a little bit. It's okay. I have to get a spatula real quick. Chef Steve's going to cover my back. So these are kind of like, obviously like pancakes. They don't take as long, but they're going to spread a little thin, and it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world, because you want to see once you get them cooking, and they'll start to, if you ever cook pancakes, you know how they start to get air bubbles in it, that's starting to set up, and that's kind of what we're looking for. Thank you, Chef Steve. It's always good to have a cameraman that's got a culinary background. I'm just going to give this another. It's almost like you got to cook them all the way on one side. We're almost there. And then we'll flip them over. So we eat these with just melted butter on top. So a lot of the deep fried fritters get served with like maple syrup or something sweet. We basically pile these on a plate, melt some butter on top, a little bit of salt and pepper, and I gotta tell you, we're good eating. Oh, look at that. There you go. My wife will be proud. You see, they're very delicate. You don't want to put on any more than you can handle. You see they're a little bit wet in the center, and it's okay because there's a lot of liquids. That's what makes them really, really good, is they're moist. Once you cook them, so you're probably looking at about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes on that side, and then about a minute on the other. Okay, something like that. Almost there. Just gonna give them 1 more minute. Then when you put your butter on them, boy. Okay, so this is the first one. All right, I'm just gonna line them up. They smell good. casually. So I'm just going to do a couple more. Once you get the griddle good and hot, they start turning out pretty quick. I'm going to show you how to make a corn fritter for the fryer, but I'm not going to fry them. The fryer's kind of back there and it's kind of loud, but I'm just going to show you how we do it. So I'm going to kind of multitask between these fritters and those fritters. And this is a little trick on kind of how to cut corn using a tube pan. You want to put them in there. A lot of times when you cut corn, it's really messy and it kind of flies everywhere. This does is it kind of catches it all. This corn is plants. This is the stuff that we got out of the microwave. All right, so it's plants, which means it's just cooked for a little bit. And that microwave trick is good if you're going to eat it right away. It's not something that you would do and say, oh, I'm going to peel it today for tomorrow. Do it for that day. Right. One more, make sure there's no corn silk. I know if you set it on the board, it kind of flies everywhere. If you don't have an angel food cake pan, you can use a bundt pan. Actually works a little bit better. I'm just going to scrape some of the milk down there. Just like that. Okay, that's 2 ears of corn. It gave me about, there we go. Now we're cooking. We're multitasking here. All right. So I'm going to put together this batter, and then just to show you what it should look like. And then you're going to use like an ice cream scoop, like what I use. The key is to make sure that it's consistent. So I'm going to make the batter first. What I have here is flour, sugar, and egg, a little bit of baking powder. And 1 egg. I'm just going to add a touch of milk to it. I'm going to wait to see how wet it gets. I don't want to lose my fritters. Beautiful, very nice. I'm going to turn that off. I need just a little bit of milk. So it's got to be a little bit of a batter. So it should almost look kind of like a quick bread batter. You know what a quick bread batter is? If it's not, just add a little bit of milk. A cup of milk, just about right. A little bit doughy, kind of like. And then what we're going to do is add our corn. You got to remember too, the corn has a little bit of liquid in it, so that's going to thin it down as you mix it in. So don't freak out if you say, "Oh, it looks too thick." we'll be okay. All right, here we go. I need about a cup of corn. Put this in here. Like I said, as I mix it up, I'm just going to put a little bit of this cilantro in here because it's a natural fit. That's what it should look like. It should be kind of thick, and then when you drop it into hot oil, you use an ice cream scoop, and it should cook up as a ball. Do it right, they'll kind of roll themselves over. You don't have to do it. You want to be able to take it, hold it above your fryer, drop it just like that. So, a regional dish, two versions of it: corn fritters griddled, corn fritters fried, and then streaked. So our next class, we're going to be featuring, because it's Hispanic Heritage Month, it started on September 15th and it goes until October 15th. Actually, we're going to be featuring some Hispanic food. So, does anybody have any questions?
Jay says hello.
Hi, Miss J. Thanks for the send out.
It's good to see you back in action.
Yes, it's good to be back in action. I can't tell you how good it feels to put a chef coat on. Been doing it for a long time.
Now, Chef, I do have a question for you. When you're boiling your corn, can you add butter in? Does that make the difference? Will the butter soak into the corn versus putting it on when it comes out of the fire?
You add butter whenever you're boiling your corn.
You can, but it's not going to stick to it. Some people, what I do suggest is seasoning in the water is basically salt. Some people put a little bit of milk in it because they think it makes it sweeter, that kind of stuff. I like butter on my corn. Butter's not going to stick to the corn if you put it in your water. So I would prefer to paint it on or melt it on, however you do it. I like full butter because I like some of the milk fat in it. But everybody kind of does it different. And that's the thing about cooking corn is, when I grew up, we husked it and then we usually boiled it. But I can remember my dad cooking corn in the husk on top of a charcoal grill and roasting it. And if you're going to do that, you need to soak your corn in like a bucket of water, something to get it submerged for like an hour so that it picks up some moisture. That way the husk don't burn as quick. And it actually steams the corn from the inside out. You could probably use that trick, cutting the knob off at the end, shaking it out. But and then grilling corn is another one. A lot of people use olive oil for that. They don't have to use it. Butter is kind of it's traditional, but it doesn't have to be. So,
What cheese did you use on the street corn?
so cojita, the cheese is Cotija, and you can buy it at Tres Hermanos. Down on the other side of Cameron and Paxton, there's a Mexican store. There's also a Mexican restaurant inside. If you want authentic stuff, that's where you go to get it. You're not going to get it at Giant. You're not going to get it at Vice, something like that. Because I looked, I knew where to get it. I thought, maybe, but no. So now, if you say, I don't want to go there, I don't want to get it, can you use Parmesan? You can. If that's what you want to do. It looks kind of the same.
Chris Squad says, hi, Chef. I miss seeing you.
Hi, Chris. We miss seeing you too. We miss seeing everybody and the students. Chef Steve and I have been doing wellness screening. If you haven't seen this, when you come in, and we're doing it in different places. So it's been kind of nice for us to kind of reconnect with some people. We also want to be able to offer this service to you too, because we're going to be doing some things coming up. With the holidays, as I know people want to learn how to carve turkey, some holiday side dishes, desserts. So as we get closer to the holidays, it's going to be more of a weekly class. But we're excited to be here, and we're excited to be doing it. And it makes us, we have, say you have a gift, you have to share it. And this is our best way that we can share it right now. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking their time to stop in and see us. It was a pleasure. Wish you could be here to smell it and taste it, but they are kind of spoken for. So I want to give a shout out to Chris from IT and Steve from IT. They came over and set us up with a webcam and a laptop. It was like a new experience. We felt like really professional all of a sudden. So we're hoping it came out good because we were using my iPhone and AirPods. So this is a little different, but we'll learn to work with it. So remember, let's get cooking with Chef Tom. 2 weeks from now, Thursday at 11:30. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you guys back in 2 weeks.